Welcome to part 1 of Competency 5. In this video, we will model linear functions. Okay, before we get started, let's take a look at the slope formula, parallel lines, and perpendicular lines. Now, here is the formula for the slope of either of these lines. This is how we get the slope from 2 points. All we need are 2 points, and we have a line. Okay, then with the parallel lines, the slope must be exactly the same. For the perpendicular lines, these slopes are opposite side reciprocals or inverse reciprocals of each other, as you see there in the green. Okay, let's begin. Given the points 1, 3, and 2, 7, which a line passes through, then for number 1, what is the slope of this line? Okay, so like I said, if we have 2 points, we have a line. Now, yes, we could use, okay, and we are, quickly use the slope points, the slope formula in the calculator, okay? But we're going to do something else for number 2, and I'll show you, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and set that up. Okay, remember the second point, we call this 2. So we start with the 7 and subtract the 3. Okay, 7 minus 3. Those are the y's. Now you go down and you do the x's. Well, those x's, that's going to be 2 minus the 1. 2 minus 1. Now, it doesn't matter if they're positives or negatives. It's going to come out in the wash. Okay, so let's push enter. And we have 4, and that would be option B. Now, my question is, what if we accidentally went from 1 to 2? Well, let's see what happens. It's always good to play around with these things to see what would happen, okay? And does it matter, where you start as long as you are consistent, okay? So let's do it the other way around, right? So let's say we had 3 minus the 7 over, okay, 1 minus the 2. Okay, so we've flipped 1 and 2, points 1 and 2. We've started with the other one that we would call y sub 1. I mean, x of 1 and y sub 1. Okay, whatever. All right, let's push enter. It's still 4. What matters is that where you put, subtract, which one is a numerator or denominator is what I'm trying to say. Okay, that's what matters. Okay, now, regardless that we did that, now it's saying what is the equation of this line for number 2? Okay, this is where we can actually use our calculator to just get that. Don't try to do any I mean, you may have already stopped the video and done it. That's great if you've done it by hand, but let's try this, okay? Our calculator does have a little bit as far as bells and whistles, okay? So I am going to clear everything out so we can start fresh. Now, I want you to push the data button, okay? And let's go all the way up. It looks like we have some data in here. So let's delete this out, all of it. And by the way, this is different from a TI-84. You can use that delete button. Looks like I'm starting to get them. See, if you push clear, it gets you all the way out. See? So you're going to have to use delete. Don't get too comfy doing that, because if you switch to taking another test where you use the TI-84, delete is a bad idea. Okay. And when you use that, you'll see. But anyway, for us in this calculator, delete's a ticket. All right, so we have L1 and L2. I know it's very tiny, but we are on L1 and it shows you what cell we're in. We're in the first cell of our L1 list. So let's say I have L1 here and I have L2 there. Now, how am I going to deal with this? Well, I'm going to look at my points. So let me erase this so we can. Okay, all right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put in the first one, 1, 3, then arrow down and we're going to put in our 2, 7. Okay, so first we need 1. Okay, push enter and it pops us down. So we need the number 2. Pop down. You have to put the points in the correct order. Okay, don't mix it up. All right, so now we have 3. Push enter. That gets the first order pair in. Now we need 7 and we finished up. Okay, those are our points. Now they're in our list. Okay, now what do we do? Well, we can push. You can, it's kind of a good habit to go second mode to get out, but in this situation, we can just push data and it says clear. That's where it clears out. So, yeah, that's not going to help us. All that does is do the clearing instead of the deleting business I did. Okay, and we don't want to do that. Okay, I just wanted to show you what would happen. Okay, now go second mode, get all the way out. Now I need that stat stuff. See that? Oh, I pushed it. No, let's go second data. Okay, now we're where we want to be. We want the stat above the data button. Okay. All right, so this is what we need. All right, we need to push. We have two things going on, but we've only got one variable. But what I did is go down to number 2, push enter. Okay, that says we have an X and a Y, and that's what we have. Our L1, oh, I realized here, I put 2. Let me go ahead and put L1, L2 there. That's L1, L2. It's a little clearer. So for this is our X is our L1 and our Y's are L2s, okay? So if you look at how we have it arranged, we are correct. L1, L2, X is our L1, Y is our L2. You could change it, but let's go consistent with what with how we learned, okay? All right. Okay, let's go down and let's calculate. Push enter. Now, that is giving you, okay, the N is how many values you have for your list. Ignore all that. What we want is we want A and we want a B. Okay? Now when I say A, that's actually our M, right? So let's arrow down and let's go down until we find it. I just keep arrowing down until I find it because it's impossible to memorize everything. Now, notice that A equals 4. Yeah, that's our D. See how it's highlighted? Okay. But that is our M that we had up here. Okay, so we could have put this in the calculator and actually had everything that we needed. Okay, so that is correct. But what's our B value? We'll arrow down and it gives it to us. That's -1. So now we know how to build our equation. Well, our M and our B value is -1, and that would be option B. Okay. All right. And if you did that by hand, kudos to you. But our calculator actually has that hidden somewhere in the abyss of our stats option. Okay. All right. So let's try number 3. Number 3, write the equation of the line that passes through 3, -4, and has a slope of -2. Okay, before we even begin, we can actually see that A is not an option because it gives us a slope of -2 and A has a slope of +2. So that's out. B, definitely a possibility, but we're not sure yet. Let's look at C and D. Okay. Now, we could test B right away in our calculator and double check and see if that works. However, let's look at C and D. Their slope intercept. See if we even have the right slope. Okay, let's look at D first. It's simplest to come up with. I have 3 minus 2x. Okay, so that's a possibility, right? Okay, I could write my x a little bit better. Not sure. Well, that's a tiny bit better. I don't know about that. Anyway, let's look at C. With C, I come up with this. All right. I come up with y equals 3 divided by -4. And then I get minus 2x, and then we have to divide by the -4. Okay, so really we have -3/4 plus a half as our slope. Okay, well, the slope is incorrect, so C is out. Okay, so now what do? Well, we check. I mean, we could solve for what our B should be, but why don't we just check B and D and see what happens? Okay. All right. This is what I mean. So let's check D first. Let's go bottom up. All right. So let's go to our table and we need minus 2x. Oh, let's clear the whole thing out. Minus 2x, and that's plus 3. I could have put it in the other way around. 3 minus 2x doesn't matter. And we need to start at 0. We're going by ones. And let's click OK. Well, that says our B value is correct. We've entered it correctly, but we need to see if we start at 3. Let's arrow down to 3. No, that's -3, not -4. D is out. So let's clear and put in our other equation for B and double check B. -2x plus 2, enter, and we are checking for 3. Let's go ahead and just plug in 3. That means that our table starts at 3 because that's what we want to check, okay? And then let's push enter until we get that. Oh, there you go, correct. 3, -4. So obviously option B is what we're looking for, okay? Now we could have checked, by solving for B like we did prior in the video. But if our calculator will give it to us, there's no reason not to use our calculator. And obviously, we could have saved ourselves several steps if we had just checked B right away. Okay? And you could do that. Right? So let's look at number 4. Let's go all the way up. Okay. All right. It says write the slope intercept form of the equation of the line that passes through 4, -7 and is perpendicular to the slope of 2. Okay. So the properties of perpendicular, or rather the definition of a perpendicular line of this given slope, is the opposite sign, so that'd be negative, and the reciprocal, which is 1/2. Now, if you don't remember, okay, every whole number can be written as the whole number over 1. Okay, there is an imaginary 1 under every whole number per se. So 2 is equal to 2 over 1 is a fraction. So create the reciprocal void, flipping it over and slap a negative on it, and that is the slope you're looking for. And there's only one option, and that would be C. But we need to check it. Don't just believe it and move on in your test. Doesn't take but a second to go back, clear out what you have, and check. So I have negative fraction 1/2. You got to arrow all the way over, put in your x, and then -5. That's a subtract 5, okay? Now let's push enter, and we need to check 4. Okay, so let's put in 4. So our table starts there. We want to go by whole numbers. So that's why we have 1, and you keep going, push enter, and we are correct. That it gives us 4, -7. So C is the correct option. Now let's look at 5. What is the y-intercept, the x-intercept and the y-intercept of the equation 2x minus 3y plus 24? Okay, well, we could put that in the calculator and find those. But we have to take this out of standard form and put it into y-intercept form because we're looking for intercepts. The fact that it asks for intercepts tells us we need to change the form. Okay, so let's see here. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, let's get rid of this, okay? And let's do that. All right, so I want to say minus 24 on both sides and minus 2x on both sides. Yes, I am skipping some steps. I created 2 0 pairs. Yeah, kind of being lazy here, but it'll work. Watch. And we do have the values on the other side. So what does that really give me? Negative 3y equals minus 24 minus 2x. Now I divide by negative 3 before I divide each term by negative 3, not just one whole, all of it on the right hand side, each term. Okay, so now I have y equals, well, a positive and a positive, a negative and a negative is a positive, excuse me, and that'll give me a positive 8 plus 2/3 x. Okay, now if I pop that in the calculator, I'm going to get those items I need. Okay, let's give it a whirl. All right, so let's clear out, clear again. We can clear, there's a lot of ways to go back. Either way, I have 8 plus, I have my fraction 2 over 3, arrow all the way over, put in your x. Now, if we have created our y-intercept form correctly, we should be okay. And I already know that we have because I've already done this, but let's go ahead and push enter. Okay, we want to start at 0 because 0x equals 0 is going to give us one of our intercepts, okay? All right. And yes, we want to uh, go by ones. Okay, steps of one. And let's do enter. Okay, 0, 8 is the first one. Oh, well, that's option A. But just in case we made a mistake. Oh, no, 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 no. We have option C too. Ooh. Well, maybe we're jumping the gun. So let's double check. Uh, well, no, that's 8, 0. No, 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 no. It can't be C because it's 0, 8. Well, let's go ahead and go to negative 12. I'm just going to arrow up till I get it. Yeah, I kind of missed. Yeah, I did. My eyes got crossed. It's not 8, 0. It's 0, 8. Number 6. Which of the following represents the graph of 4x plus 5y equals 10? Okay. Well, let's take a look at what happens here. We need to put this in y-intercept form so I can see that this will become, let's see, 5y equals 10 minus the 4x. Now every single term must be divided by that 5. So y equals, okay, that's 2 minus the 4 over the 5x. Okay, that being said, looks like I have some things going on here. First, my slope is negative, so I should be looking for a line that is negative. Okay, well, that gets rid of A and D. Those are both positive. So now I have a y-intercept of 2 here. So it should be going down and beginning at 2. Well, C begins at 2. B does not. It's at 2.5. So therefore, I'm going with C. C looks like it's accurate. Then you could put your findings in the calculator and see if you are correct. Okay, so let's do that really quick and see if we have a y and x intercept. Our x-intercept should be at about 2.5 and 0. It very well may be just that. So use your table, clear out what's there, and say 2 minus, and then a fraction, or rather minus as subtract, okay? And then 4, go down 5, arrow over, type in your x, enter. Let's start at 0 because that's what we need to look at, the intercept, and we're going to go by steps of one and let's see what happens. I'm worried about steps of one because of the 2.5, but let's go ahead and push enter and see what we get here. Okay, so the y-intercept is verified, but of course the x-intercept isn't, so push clear. Go down to your steps and say 0.5, and now let's go back. And here we go. Yep, it's right, 2.5. I was guessing, but I had a feeling that would be correct. All right, let's look at number 7. Okay, which of the following represents the equation parallel to? That's a big word right there, parallel. That really tells us what we need to look for, okay? All right, so we need y-intercept form, okay? So we need to, I'm going to say, oh, well, that's the exact same one. What am I doing? That's the one we had up here. We already know the y-intercept form. We want to know what's parallel. Let me go back up and verify that that is. Uh, okay, yeah, now it'll let me. Okay, yes, definitely the same equation. Okay, so there it is. We have y equals, I'll rewrite that for us here. Okay, we have y equals 2 minus 4 over 5x. Okay, how do we know something is parallel? If it's parallel, it has the very same slope. The b value is irrelevant. It just can't be 2. Anything but 2. Because if it was the same slope and the same y-intercept of 2, it would be the same line. So let's see what we have here. Well, A won't work because the slope is positive. B, I like because it's the same slope and they've changed that B value. I don't like C because they've used the reciprocals here on the slope fractions. I don't like that. And I don't like D because it's not even negative and it's a reciprocal. So there you go. B verified. Okay, this is the last question in this video. I wanted to uh, really thank everyone for being so kind with their comments and subscribing and liking and sharing. I really do hope everyone passes their test. And again, happy testing, everyone.